This is the only ball I found downstairs that was inflated. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Advanced Monday Afternoon Live Stream. I'm your host, Peter, and we're joined this week by Christine.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome back, Christine. Haven't had her on for a while. Good to have her back. And we have a good topic for you today. Christine and myself, we are going to lead you through a discussion of the topic of working as a team. We're not just going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about some English vocabulary related to working as a team. So you have a chance to practice your English and you'll be able to respond to things we say because this is live. And so feel free to just give us some comments in the comment section and we can probably respond to you right here on air, as we always do. Anyway, our topic, as usual, comes from your trusty Advanced magazine. This is the one for the month of August. Don't you love this particular cover? I don't want to toot my own horn, but this is actually a pretty good cover.
It does look delicious.
The cake, you'll have to wait a few weeks for the cake article. We're not talking about that today. As I say, today we're talking about teamwork, and this comes from an article, today's article, in fact. It's called Ants versus Humans. Ants versus humans. And it turns out when ants work together in a group, they outperform humans when humans work together in a group. Very interesting article. So we thought, let's talk about working together as a group. Let's talk about teamwork. Start you off here with our poll question. The key to good teamwork, the key, as you see it, the key to good teamwork is shared vision. Everyone, has a motivating goal that they're working towards. Skill level, how skilled are the people? Good leader, got to have a leader on a team. And the right personalities, sort of the right chemistry between people. And obviously, all four of these things are important for good teamwork. We're not saying that there's one right answer here and the rest are all wrong. But what do you think is the most important? If you had to choose one, the shared vision, the skill level, the good leadership, or just the right personalities for good teamwork. Christine, what would you say is the key to good teamwork from this list?
I think ultimately leadership.
Leadership.
Because if you have great personalities, but they don't work together, then that doesn't really work. If you have a shared vision, but you don't know how to move forward, that's kind of a problem. If you have a good skill level, again, if you don't know how to work together, it's hard to coordinate and get all of those skills to match. Whereas with a good team leader, the leader can find the skills that each person has and maximize that and move the team forward. So I lean towards the leadership answer.
Well, Christine makes a good case for good leadership being the key to good teamwork. I think for myself, it comes down to, and again, leadership is important. But I think if I had to choose one from this list, I would choose the shared vision. I think if you have a vision, a goal that you're all working towards that is strong enough and that everyone is equally excited about and looking forward to working on, then the other things can be you can sort of fudge them. They don't have to be the most important things. Maybe if you don't have quite as good a leader as you could otherwise, as long as you're all motivated by the vision, that I think can overcome a lack of good leadership, or maybe the personalities don't quite mix together, or even the skill level isn't that high. As long as people want to be there and are excited about working towards this goal, to me, I think that's the key. But, Christine's case is equally plausible. And, it's kind of based on your own experience with teamwork that will inform your answer here. So we're just interested in what you all think. And let's check our early results for the poll question. And yes, we have an interesting spread here. About 30% of you say shared vision is most important. About 30% of you say good leadership is most important. And about 30% of you say the right personalities, the mix of people is most important. Just about 10% of you say skill level.
Yeah, so skill level is a little bit on the lower side.
A little on the lower side there, which is interesting. But again, it's not like 50% of you say one thing and, the other three are just to the side or much less. So interesting spread. Keep responding to the poll question throughout the live stream. We'll try to remember to give you the results at the end of the live stream. I know we don't always do that, but we will always post the final results of the poll question in the more information box under the picture here. So you'll always be able to check in if you come to us later in the day. But we are talking about good teamwork and English vocabulary related to good teamwork. And Steve, hello, Steve. Good afternoon to you. Steve says, when I was in elementary school, at the age of 12, my teammates were making a building, and I drew a construction building. The leader gave us so many ideas to mix together.
Nice.
So sounds like
he's on the leadership
sounds
camp.
like he might be favoring leadership as the most important thing. Thank you, Steve.
And Agatha says that all of them are important. It's true. They are. They are all important.
They are, yeah. This is just kind of an exercise to get us really thinking about teamwork. You know, if we had to choose one, because I agree all of them are important, but I think we would also agree that you don't always get all 4 of those in equal measure when you're working on a team. So it's kind of like in the ideal team, if one of them had to rise to the top, as it would, which one would it be? Is sort of the question we're getting at here. Thanks for your answers so far. Keep chiming in. Here's some vocabulary for you, talking about good teamwork. Start off with a kind of a long word here, so hang on. Collaborate. C-O-L-L-A-B-O-R-A-T-E. Collaborate. Christine, what's collaborate?
Collaborate means to work together. It's always helpful to look at the beginning of the word. And so co means together. So like corporation, company, cooperations, those sort of words all mean together. So when you collaborate, you're working together on something.
Right. And talk about the beginning of the word. What's in the middle of the word? Labor. Co-labor-ate. When you work all together. So yeah, little tricks here that can help you recognize English words, understand their meaning better. Collaborate. Yeah, another word for teamwork. Here's another one for you, shorter this time, although it also begins with the letter C. Concur. C-O-N-C-U-R. Concur. What's that mean?
It's like a fancy way of saying you are in agreement. You agree with something. You would say, oh, I concur. If you really want to sound smart,
right,
that's how you say, I agree.
Right, yeah. And you'll hear people say that, yeah, good point, Johnson. I concur, with that. Actually, people will usually just say, I concur, like I agree. They won't always say, I agree with X. They'll just say, I agree, I concur. So that's what it means when they say, and we mention that in a discussion of good teamwork, because that is obviously something that you want for good teamwork, is that everybody concurs. Everybody agrees on what you're working towards and how you should work towards it as much as possible. We're all humans. You're never probably going to have total concurrence, but to the degree that everybody can concur on the goal, that'll help your teamwork go. Hello, David Lynn. Good to hear from you. A good leader can compensate. A good leader. Another one.
I feel like, at least for our current viewers, the leadership side is winning on this one.
Leadership, undeniably important. In fact, for me personally, that would probably be number 2. I still think the power of the vision that unites the whole group is important, because you need something when you don't have a good leader. And that's when the vision can sort of carry the weight. But yeah, a good leader is probably the thing to look for first and foremost, because then you can have a so-so vision. But if you've got a good leader who can still motivate you, then you can be productive as a team. So again, thanks for all your feedback. And Rose, hello, Rose. Good afternoon to you. Let's give you another piece of vocabulary here. Longer one this time. We had a short one, but now we're going back to the longer ones. Incompatible. It has a nice multi-syllabic feel to it. Incompatible, I-N-C-O-M-P-A-T-I-B-L-E. Christine, what does incompatible mean?
So again, when you start a word with in, often it means the opposite of. So to be compatible with somebody, or for machinery to be compatible, it means it works well together. So to be incompatible means we cannot work together. We are a poor fit. It's not going to work.
Right. And people on a team could be incompatible for any number of reasons. It could be just a personality difference. It could be that you don't have the shared vision. You know, I've got one vision, she's got another vision, and, you know, we're on the same team.
Yeah.
And that could lead to incompatibility between us. But yeah, incompatible, good word to know, long word, but good word to know, because that is what will challenge a team, is if there is incompatibility among the people. A good team, everyone's compatible in some way. You know, not in a perfect sort of way. We're all human beings, you know, we're all going to be imperfect in some way, but to the degree that you can minimize incompatibility on your team, that will usually lead to a more productive team.
And this is a side note, but often when we talk about compatibility or incompatibility, we are also using that word in relationships. So dating relationships, you can say, oh, well, we discovered that we weren't compatible, so we're no longer dating.
Yes, good. Also uses use of incompatible. Again, that word we mentioned at the top, chemistry. Chemistry normally about, you know, pouring things between bottles and labs and everything, but chemistry also about emotional chemistry, personality chemistry, how well people work together, blend together professionally and in relationships, as you said, personal relationships. Compatibility is what you're looking for. Incompatibility, no compatibility. Okay, great. And let us go now to another discussion question for you. We'll got some vocab still to come, but let's give you another discussion question that you can respond to about teamwork. When was the last time you worked on a team? We've all worked on a team, I think, at one point or another. A family very often is a team, sometimes a dysfunctional team, but, you know, a family is a family, and it's a group, you know, having to work together in some way to achieve something, whether, you know, peace in the household, or maybe in a specific situation, like on a family trip. In fact, Christine just came back from a family trip a few weeks ago. And Christine, would you say that, what was it like working on that team?
It's great because, I mean, with my siblings, we've been working on a team and negotiating and agreeing and disagreeing all our lives. So we're actually really good at it, and we have a system. So I was the leader because it was my house where everyone was coming, and I sent out an email and basically said, everyone's doing 3 meals of this, 3 meals of that. You're in charge of this part of cleaning. You're in charge of this part of cleaning. And yeah, so we were a well-oiled machine.
Yes, because they weren't all just going back to their houses and sort of just hanging out as a family. They were all going to a specific place for Christine's house. So, and it's interesting that Christine was functioning as the leader there, and she also favors leadership as the most important thing in a teamwork. Could be a connection there. I don't know.
I don't think of myself as a leader typically. So
oh, the best kind of leader.
I'm the kind that steps up when it's needed.
Exactly. Oh, Steve. Hello, Steve again. Speaking of collaborate, I heard my friend on YouTube, and Hot Wheels is collaborating with 7-Eleven, and they made a Toyota Supra with their store sponsor on this car and sell only in the U.S. Yes, corporate teamwork at work here. Thanks for the example, Steve.
I feel like Steve might want to take a trip to the U.S. to go and buy that Hot Wheels. Sounds like a collectible.
That's something to plan for, Steve. That's the Toyota Supra. How about that? Thank you, Steve. Let's, again, you can keep chiming in on when was the last time you worked on a team. You don't have to give us your whole, you know, long biography or anything. Just, you know, oh yeah, I did this thing at work, or my family did this, or a bunch of friends, or maybe you've played on an actual sports team. Like in school, you know, maybe you didn't want to play on a sports team. Not everyone liked sports in school. But that's another example where we work as a team and have experience with that, you know, aspect of human experience. So when was the last time you worked on a team? Let us know.
Rose makes a good point. She says parents need to make a good team to support their children.
Absolutely.
100%.
Importance of good leadership there, definitely.
Yes, definitely.
And Agatha says, I feel the key to maintain a good relationship with someone is to make it a partnership. Yes. See, the application of teamwork and team thinking can apply to situations where we don't normally think of it as a team, just a personal relationship, but it is a team. In a sense, in a very real sense. It's a team of two people, usually. But teamwork there also applies, and you want to have compatibility. You want to be able to collaborate. You want to see how often you concur on things in a personal relationship. Nothing to do with professional relationship in that example. Thank you, Agatha. And Rose, okay, yeah, we read that. So let's go back, give you some more vocab here. Here's a nice word. And this is also a word for a strategy to make good teamwork. And that word is delegate. D-E-L-E-G-A-T-E, delegate. Christine, what is delegate?
So delegate, I often think of delegate as something the leader does. And you are giving people tasks. And a good leader is not someone who does everything. A good leader is someone who gives other people tasks. So an example of delegation in my family reunion situation is me assigning tasks to the nieces and nephews for cleaning, to my brothers and sisters for cooking, things like that. So giving responsibilities to other people.
Yes, very important part of being a leader is not doing everything yourself, which can be a temptation if you are the leader. You feel like everyone's looking to you and expecting things from you, and that can sometimes mean that you end up doing really more than you should do, and you don't delegate the responsibilities around and lead in that way by sort of organizing people and fitting them to the tasks they're best suited for, like Christine was saying in her example. Delegate, very important for good teamwork. Rose, my husband and I make a good team. Excellent. Raising your son. There's a shared vision for a team. Yes. Raising children, definitely. Whenever I feel like I'm losing my temper with our son, my husband will take over and give me some time to cool down.
That's so important.
Teamwork. High five for good teamwork.
Yeah, that's great teamwork. Love it.
Good teamwork. See, parenting is also teamwork.
It is.
So this teamwork idea applies to so much of human experience.
Yeah, and Steve Sun also says something here. He says, the last time I worked on a team was with my classmates working on a project in college. He was counting the numbers of people studying, and what I did was type the words on my laptop for the presentation. Yeah, exactly. So one person's doing the typing and someone else is doing another task, and you're working together, and it just makes it so much more efficient. Delegation
of tasks, absolutely. And Joy has a nice comment. Christine, you built your house with your husband. You two make a great team.
We do make an amazing team. I have to agree.
Thank you, Joy. And Steve adds that our topic was to teach students to study English more often. Steve, you're at the right place for that. Here at the live stream. Thank you for all your comments. Here's another vocab word for you. Keeping an eye on the clock here, but we got a little more time. Align, and you're going to see ment in parentheses there. A-L-I-G-N parentheses M-E-N-T. That's just to give you both the verb form and the noun form. Align or alignment. Christina, what are we talking about?
Well, when I hear align, I think line. So if you think of it as being in parallel with each other. So when you are aligned, you're going in the same direction. You are in agreement. Yeah. So if you align your vision, it means maybe you were thinking something this way and someone else was thinking like that, but then you both agreed, no, this is the direction that you want to go. So your vision is aligned.
Right, exactly. And obviously you can see how that's important for good teamwork, to have everyone aligned on the same priority, the same vision, the same approach. Without crushing people's individuality, because it is the diversity often of skills and experiences on a team that will lead to a greater overall productivity by the team. But you need to be aligned, obviously. You need to have alignment on your team about what you're doing, where you're trying to go, how fast you're trying to go there, and so on. Alignment. Great. One more vocab word for you here. Very important for teams, so we want to be sure to include this. Commend. C-O-M-M-E-N-D, commend. Christine, what does that mean, and how is it important for good teamwork?
So to commend is to praise, to take notice of something that someone has done and actually make a I would think, a public statement about it.
Yes, and public, perhaps just with the other team members.
Right.
We're not saying put something in the newspapers. But yeah, some kind of public recognition in that sense, not just a private, good job, Christine.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, everyone, let's congratulate Christine on the good work she did for the team. Something like that. Not every day, when it's deserved, when it's earned, but it can be a trap to fall into with teamwork, to just always keep looking for how much more we have to accomplish, how much, further we have to go to reach our goal, which is important, but you also want to take time to commend the work that has been done so far, particularly if it's especially good work, so that people feel recognized. And there's just a nice positive vibe. We talked about staying positive last week, remember? You want to have a positive, sort of hopeful vibe where people realize that they will contribute to the team, but they'll also be recognized for it. They'll be acknowledged for it. And that's what we're doing when you commend.
Yeah, and here's an example, actually. So Rose, who's very sweet, said, advanced teachers make a good team. So we're talking about teamwork, teaching us English and giving us joy in our lives. Thanks a lot. That's commending us.
Commending us.
So
Thank you for
Rose.
the commendation,
Yes.
Rose. Absolutely. You see how that works? Simple. Anyway, we are just about out of time here, so we got to close now just by throwing you one of our idioms for teamwork, and this is one of my favorite ones. All hands on deck. And yeah, when you hear that, it is kind of a cry. It's an alarm. All hands on deck. And Christine, what does that mean?
It just means everybody, let's work together.
Right. That this is a team effort. It's originally, as some of you may guess, a shipping term, something that you would say on ships in the 19th century and earlier. A hand, not like what's at the end of our arms, but a hand is a word for someone who works on a ship, like a sailor or a mate. And so if the captain or the chief mate suddenly cries, all hands on deck, it means wherever you are in the ship, whatever you're doing, come up to the main deck, because there's a situation that everyone needs to know about, everyone needs to be coordinated on. Maybe a storm is coming, or maybe if you're a whale hunter, you've spotted the whale, or there's some kind of situation where we need everyone coming together as a team to deal with the situation. All hands on deck. So you'll still hear that. Even in settings where there's no ship around, where you're not even close to the ocean at all. All hands on deck, listen, everybody, this project next week, this is going to be all hands on deck. I'm afraid, you're going to have to rearrange your schedules, because this is top priority. All hands on deck for this. Every part of the team we need. Anyway, Joy adds, it's a command. It is. Yeah, it's basically a command. You'll hear it more used descriptively nowadays than like as an actual command, but that is definitely where it comes from. It would be something that the senior authority on the ship would say, all hands on deck. It's an order. So now it's more like an adjective way of describing the importance of something, but it began as a command, definitely. And it began as a command, but we have to end the live stream here and bid you farewell for this week. And thank you so much for your participation here. We hope that you've had a little chance to practice some English, think about good teamwork, and that you'll continue to do that through the week, thinking about it. And remember to check out that Ants versus Humans article to read even more about teamwork in your trusty Advanced magazine. Join us next time, next Monday, at this same time, this same channel. We'll be back with another topic, another chance for you to practice your English, grow in that confidence in your English. But for today, I'm Peter.
And I'm Christine.
Saying bye-bye and good teamwork. Now, you really think that you're going to be able to...
Like it's more like basic.